President Trump made Aurora and Colorado the focus of his promised immigration crackdown. Well, we now know what ICE has done here in the first half of the year. Not because of transparency from the Trump administration, but because of a lawsuit forcing them to reveal their numbers. Our Marshall Zellinger has them.
This is the holding facility in Aurora that people being held by ICE are taken. Because of a lawsuit by the UCLA Center for Immigration Law and Policy, we now have data on the number of people who may have been held here at some point or are still inside. ICE reports more than 2,200 arrests in Denver's area of responsibility, which is Colorado and Wyoming. This is from President Trump's inauguration on January 20th to June 26th, the last day we have data. That's almost 5 times as many arrests during the same time frame in 2024. The ICE database does not include a reason for the arrest, so we cannot say how many are because they were accused of violent crimes or how many are simply here without authorization. We also now have data on the number of people ICE took into custody because of a detainer request with a prison or jail. In 2025, that number doubled to just more than 2,000 compared to just less than 1,000 the year before. This database does include criminal history. There's a column for most serious conviction, so we know the most serious charge each of these people had on their record prior to being transferred to ICE custody. And in both 2024 and 2025, the top 3 previous convictions were for DUI, assault, and drugs.
As you could see on the database when I showed the file itself, there are a lot of blank cells. Many bits of information were lacking. But Kyle, now we have a glimpse, but the question is still really unanswered on the arrest side. Are ICE agents targeting the worst of the worst?
Right, because that's been our question all along. That was the promise from Trump. We're going after the worst people and we're getting them out. And a number of people who know immigration and deportation say you can't get the numbers that you want to get unless you're picking up people's grandma and their uncle and whatever who don't have serious criminal issues.
Right, there were a few dozen in the database that said they were just people that were picked up that were here without authorization. Is that the worst of the worst? Compared to, there were 5, I think, in one of the years for homicide, and some of those were from Wyoming, not just Colorado. People, I guess, would argue homicide is much worse of the worst compared to just being in the country illegally.
Sure, right? There's no argument about those folks, right? You know what? Grab them, good riddance. You know, it's all the other stuff that is, well, discussable, I suppose. All right, Marshall Zellinger, thank you.